I'm Julie Herman of Jaybird Quilts and Lazy Girl Designs, and welcome back to the Lazy Angle Basics series. We're currently working on the Rhapsody Quilt. In the last video, we went ahead and made the two-step Lazy Angle blocks. In this video, we're going to focus on companion blocks. So what's a companion block? Companion block is any block that also ends up square and can be used along with a Lazy Angle block. There's a variety of them, such as an hourglass, square and a square, half square triangle. For this quilt, we're going to have full squares and we're going to have a corner flip. So let's get started on cutting and making those. This is the fabric I need for my center units, and so I need to just go ahead and cut squares. And all my blocks for this quilt finish at 7.5, so I need 7.5-inch squares. So the first thing I need to do is square up my fabric. So I'm going to line up my ruler so that I have a horizontal line across the top. That way, when I have my long strips, they're straight and not a V. And I'm going to make sure I'm on the fabric good. And this is magnetic, so it won't slide. It's one of the nice perks of the Sew Tight system. So trim that off. Now I'm going to lift the ruler and I'm going to rotate the strip around. Now we need a 7.5-inch strip. And the ruler that comes with this system is 6.5. And the rulers that come with most things are either 6 or 6.5. You may own a larger ruler and you may not. So let me show you a couple options. If you have another straight ruler, you can go ahead and put them together to make wider till you get to your 7.5, line it up and cut. But what do you do if you don't have that longer ruler? If you're using a 6.5-inch ruler, I have a hack for you. This doesn't work with a 6, it only works with a 6.5. The Jumbo Lazy Angle has a marking on it that makes a perfect 1 inch. So this solid line here below the 7.5 is 1 inch from the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Jumbo Lazy Angle on the edge of my fabric, and then I'm going to butt this ruler right up against it. Make sure that I'm still on my fold down here, and I'm going to slide this ruler down just to make sure I'm straight all the way across. Adjust it all as needed. Looks like I'm good to go. And now I can cut a 7.5-inch wide strip. Now I need to cut this into some squares. So I'm simply going to line up my ruler, trim off my selvage, rotate it around. And I can use the same hack of using my 7.5-inch line. If you don't have the 6.5-inch ruler and you have a 6-inch, another option is you can use the lines on your mat, but I generally advise use the lines on your ruler whenever possible because they're always more accurate than the lines on a mat. So that's officially the easiest block you'll ever make. That part is done. So we need to go ahead and cut those as described on the bottom of page 2, and those are our center unit squares. I'm going to repeat those steps with my 7.5-inch background fabric so that I get 7.5-inch squares from this fabric as well. In addition to my 7.5-inch squares, I also need some 4-inch squares for my corner units. Let's cut some 4-inch squares. So I've got my 4-inch mark and cut. Now I'm going to put this fabric aside. And now to get my squares, first thing I need to do is I need to take off my selvages. And I'm going to line up my horizontal lines of my ruler on my strip and cut. Then I'm going to rotate my strip around 180 degrees. And now I am just going to continue to use my 4-inch mark over and over again to work my way down the strip. Now that I have everything cut, it's pretty simple to make this corner block. Going to take one large square and one small square. Going to flip my small square over and draw a line diagonally on the back with a pencil. Any ruler will do for this. So you can go ahead and use your Jumbo Lazy Angle or whatever you have handy. Then I'm going to place it in the corner, and I'm going to head on over to the machine to sew this. Now I'm going to take my 1/4 inch foot off, and I'm going to put a regular foot on, and I'm just going to sew right on that line. If you're worried about this shifting, you can go ahead and pin it. I don't find that it's usually necessary. The one thing that I find to be super helpful is to make sure you're sewing onto a leader ender. Otherwise, when you start to begin to sew at this angle here, it tends to sometimes want to eat your fabric. So I find it's really helpful to begin on a leader ender. And as I mentioned, I switched to a regular foot, not my 1/4 inch foot, and I'm just going to sew straight down my drawn pencil line. Now that this is sewn, I need to go ahead and trim off my excess. If you want to make sure that everything's perfect before you trim it off, you can just gently flip this up and it should line up perfectly there. So I'm just going to take my ruler and I'm going to line it up so I have a nice 1/4 inch seam and trim off that excess. And now I need to simply press this open. Just going to finger press it just like I did for the Lazy Angle block, and then I'm going to head on over to the iron to give that a nice press so it'll be nice and flat just like this one. So go ahead, cut all of your center squares and make all of your corner units, and I will be back in the next video to show you how to make flying geese blocks into a companion block. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like it, subscribe to the channel, and share your comments with us. If you've not yet signed up for the sew along, you can do so at the link in the caption below. See you soon.